In this lesson, we will learn about the group by. We use group by when we do select the column 1, column 2, and so on until column n. And after that, if we do aggregate field, which aggregate field is the aggregate function count, sum, average, min, max, if we use one of those after the column that we want, from the table that we want, after that we put immediately the group by. The group by must be placed immediately when we aggregate the group. After the group by, we need to add all the columns that we placed after the select. Because we want the column in the select, there must be group by. So again, we do select, put the column that we want. After that, the aggregate field, one of those. And when we place the aggregate field, we must add group by. And after the group by, all the columns that we have in the select. Let's see in this example, we have select the category ID. This is the column that we will do group by, comma, average. Average is an aggregate field. It's aggregation. Average to the unit price. Let's call it average unit price from the products. And if we use average, we must add group by the category ID, by the column that we are grouping it by. So we get the category ID, the column that we are grouping it by, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after that we use the aggregate field average. The 37 is the average of all the prices of the units, of all the units prices of category 1. Let's see it in the SQL server. So first of all, we'll do selects asterisks from products. We get the all columns of the products table, but we want the average unit price of the category. In category 1, we see that we have 2 rows because we have 2 products with 2 unit price, but we want the average of them. So let's write the category ID and the unit price. If we order it by the category ID, so we see that we have 12 rows of category 1 and a lot of unit price. We want to make average of all these unit price, so we want to aggregate them by the category ID. If we write average to the unit price, and let's call it as average unit price. After we write an aggregated field, average, we must immediately write group by, and insert here the columns that we want to group it by. In this case, we have category ID. Let's run this. And we see that we got only one category ID, and all the rows we had, now it's average. Let's show another example. If I'm moving the average again and the group by and run this, now I want to count the rows. We have 12 rows of category 1. We want to count it. So I'll do aggregate field with count, and let's call it count unit price. After I write count, the aggregate field, I must add group by and insert the column that I want to group it by. So I need to have only one row of category ID 1 with the count of all rows. So what I need to see is category ID 1 and the count of unit price 12, because it counts the rows of category 1, which is 12. Let's see it. And here we go. We have category ID 1 with 12 rows. We count it, and this is the aggregate field. After that, we group it by the category ID, because this is the column that we are grouping the aggregate field by. This is the way we use group by.